Hello everyone. So today in the chapter 1 of class 10, that is chemical reactions and equation, we will continue with the next topic in the chapter, which is what are the important characteristics of a chemical reaction. Now what do we mean by this? The important characteristics of a chemical reaction, that how do we come to know that a chemical reaction is taking place, right? So what are the signs of a chemical reaction taking place, like what are, how do we get to know that a reaction has occurred or not? So there are certain characteristics, like first one, there will be evolution of a gas. Now how do we get to know that there is evolution of gas? Suppose we have taken a solution, so in the solution we will see small bubbles of the gas coming out, right? So these small bubbles of the gas, they are the indication of a chemical reaction taking place, right? Sometimes the gas can have a foul smell also. So along with the evolution of gas, we can also write that change in the odor. Okay, odor means the smell, right? Sometimes the gas is very pungent, we cannot inhale the gas easily, so that is also a sign that a gas is being released in the reaction. So we get to know about the evolution of gas through these bubbles, and if the gas evolved is very high, it is large in concentration in a small time, then we can also hear a sound that is like a fizz sound, and it is very relatable whenever we open the cap of a cold drink bottle, so we hear that fizz sound. So it is a sign that there was gas inside that cold drink, which immediately came out when the cap was opened up, right? Then the second characteristic that a chemical reaction has taken place is the formation of a precipitate. Now what is a precipitate? Suppose that we have taken two test tubes, and in both the test tube there is solution A and B. They are two different solutions, they are colorless. Now the test tube B is kept as it is, and test tube A is like put above it, so that the solution of A comes and mixes into that of B. Now after the reaction is complete and everything mixes into B, so there is a solid deposition at the bottom of this test tube. This deposition is called as a precipitate, which is written as PPT also, and above we have a solution, right? So if in a reaction we have taken two solutions, and upon mixing the two solutions we get the products, that is the chemical substances which are formed after the reaction. So one of the product is a solid residue which settles at the bottom. Okay, precipitate will always settle at the bottom, and above there will be the solution of another chemical substance. Then third indication that a reaction has taken place is the change in color. So there can be change in the color also, like we are taking two colorless solutions, we are mixing, and all of a sudden there is change in the color of the product. So that change in color will tell us that a reaction has taken place. Then there can be another characteristic, that is change in temperature. Now temperature change is of two types: either the temperature will increase, okay, or the temperature will decrease, right? So if the temperature increases, it means heat is denoted by the symbol this triangle also. So it means that the heat is released in that reaction. But when the temperature decreases, it means the heat is absorbed in that reaction, and the container where we are doing this reaction, that container will become cold as compared to the normal temperature, right? So the change in temperature, we have to feel the container, we have to touch the container. The container may be felt hot or it may be felt cold, depending whether the temperature increases or decreases respectively, right? Now the fifth one is the change in state. Now what do we mean by change in state? That maybe we start with solid reactant, one of the product is solid, but one of the product may be gaseous also. Or maybe we have taken two aqueous solutions, okay, they are reacting with each other. One of the product is aqueous, but the other one is a precipitate. Now a precipitate is always shown by a downward arrow, because if you remember this diagram, so why a precipitate is shown by a downward arrow? Because precipitate always settles at the bottom of the container wherever we are doing this reaction. So precipitate settles at the bottom of the container, that is why it is also shown by a downward arrow. And we all know that gases have a tendency to rise up, they always rise up, right? So gases, they are shown by the upward arrow also, so their arrows are different, upward for a gas and downward for a precipitate. Now let us discuss this in little bit detail, that the characteristic of a chemical reaction, that is evolution of a gas. Now how can we observe it? Very simple to understand. We'll take zinc granules, we'll put it into dilute sulfuric acid. We never use concentrated, because the concentrated acid or a base, they are highly corrosive and they may cause burns also. So we'll take dilute sulfuric acid, which is denoted by DIL dot. Okay, when the reaction will take place. Now zinc, metals are always positive, sulfuric acid, hydrogen is positive and sulfate is negative. So the positive of first combines with the negative of second, it becomes ZnSO4, and along with the release of a gas, that is hydrogen gas, and it is shown by the upward arrow. How will we get to know that the hydrogen gas is evolved? Remember that hydrogen gas is a colorless and odorless gas, so we cannot see this gas, we cannot smell this gas, but still we get to know that hydrogen gas is released. The first symbol is that, or the first sign of its release is that we'll see bubbles in the solution. Okay, so those bubbles tell us that some gas is being evolved. The second and experimental verification of hydrogen gas is that take a burning match splinter. Okay, take a burning match splinter or a matchstick near the test tube or the container from where this gas is coming out, and will hear a pop sound. Okay, just like a cracker will hear a pop sound. So that is an indication of this hydrogen gas, that though it is a colorless or odorless gas, but still we can verify the presence of this gas experimentally by taking a burning match splinter or a burning matchstick near the mouth of the container from where the gas is being released, and we will hear pop sound coming out of it. So this is one characteristic evolution of a gas. Now second one, change in the color. Now change in the color, like here so many other examples they are discussed, but I'll be discussing a very common example. I will not be discussing this example. Like suppose we take hydrated ferrous sulfate, whose chemical formula is FeSO4.7H2O. This salt is green in color. When we heat it gently, so these 7 water of crystallization which are attached to the salt, they get released, and we are left with anhydrous. Anhydrous means which is not having any water of crystallization. We are left with anhydrous ferrous sulfate. The moment anhydrous ferrous sulfate is formed, this ferrous sulfate anhydrous is not green in color, but it is like off white or dirty white in color. Now after we obtain this dirty white color, we will heat it strongly. Okay, now we are going to increase the flame, and now it will heat up strongly. So once the heating is done, this is also solid, this is also solid, this was also solid. Okay, so now 3 products will be formed. First one is ferric oxide, which is solid again. Second one is the evolution of 2 gases, that is sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Now since they are gases and gases have a tendency to rise up, we show them by the upward arrow. But now how do we get to know that the product is formed or the chemical reaction has taken place? So if we pay attention to the first part, we get to know by the color change. Now in the second part, how do we get to know? Again there will be one indication that there will be color change, that is dirty white anhydrous ferrous sulfate will change into ferric oxide, its color will be yellow, so that dirty white solid will change into yellow solid, along with the evolution of two gases which are colorless. We cannot see these gases, right? But then how are we going to identify? Because these gases have a very pungent smell of rotten eggs, right? So the moment these gases are released, we cannot see the gases, but we can feel the gases because they have a very pungent or a foul smell like that of rotten gases. So this is one example where we have discussed the color change also, and we have discussed the odor change also, right? That the change in the smell. Now we get to know that the product formation has taken place. Now let's start with the next one, that is change in the state of the substance of that or the reactant that we have taken. So we all know that a simple example is discussed over here, that is the combustion of candle wax is characterized by a change in the state from solid to liquid. Suppose we take a candle and the candle is burnt, so we all know that solid candle will change into liquid, and liquid will ultimately change into gas also. Why? Because the candle wax, it reacts with oxygen, and the wax starts burning, it will change into liquid, but the entire doesn't change into liquid, some of it will change into gas also, like carbon dioxide. Now let us discuss the other example for the change of state of a gas, right? Very good example, like solid, liquid and gas, how the state is changing. Okay, maybe a precipitate also, maybe an aqueous solution also. So now let us understand. Suppose we take hydrogen gas, and that hydrogen gas is made to react with oxygen gas. Okay, so when these two will react, they result in the formation of water, and we all know that water is a liquid. So when we now try to balance this, our balanced form of the equation will be something like this. But do we see a change in the state? The both the reactants, right, those substances which were reacting with each other, they are gases. But when they react and the reaction is complete, the product formed becomes a liquid. So this is a very good example of the change of state, right? So this is how the state may also change. Now the change in temperature. Now how the temperature change we are going to understand. We have done this reaction earlier also. Suppose we take zinc and we put it into dilute hydrochloric acid. Now let us change this time. Dilute hydrochloric acid. Sulfuric acid we have discussed previously. So let us change sulfuric acid with hydrochloric acid, and it should be dilute. Now when they react, it results in the formation of zinc chloride, and hydrogen gas is released, right? But when the reaction takes place, the container in which the reactants they are reacting with each other, if we touch them from the sides, the reaction container will be very hot at that time. So this is a case where the heat is released, and such reactions where energy is released in the form of heat, they are called as exothermic reactions, right? So what is this? This is an example of an exothermic reaction. Exo means release and thermal means heat. So release of heat in a reaction. Second example of this can be, let us discuss one more example. We take quicklime, which is also called as calcium oxide, and it is a substance, chemical substance, which is used at the time of whitewashing in our homes. So whenever we go for whitewashing, calcium oxide is used. That calcium oxide is mixed in water, and if you might have paid attention, whenever whitewashing is taking place, so the painters they never mix this with their hand. They use a long wooden stick or a wooden spatula or a wooden plank for this. Now why do they use a wooden plank for this, or a stick, right? They never mix calcium oxide into water with their bare hands, right? Because it results in the formation of calcium hydroxide, okay, that is formed. But along with the evolution of heat also. So it means that there will be so much of release of heat during this reaction that if they try to mix it with their hands, it may burn their hands as well. So this is also an example of an exothermic reaction. But all the reactions are not exothermic. There are certain reactions which are endothermic also, like the very first reaction, photosynthesis. We all know all the, now this is in relation to the biology, that where all the green plants, they make food, they can prepare their own food with the help of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll by absorbing, right? So photosynthesis takes place by absorbing solar energy. So this is an example of endothermic reaction. Now in terms of chemistry, there is one more example, like we take barium chloride, okay, we mix it with ammonium hydroxide, and when we mix it with ammonium hydroxide, so barium will go with hydroxide and ammonium will go with chloride. It will result in the formation of barium hydroxide and ammonium chloride, right? So this is how the reaction it takes place. Okay, so let us just leave it like this. We'll balance it later on, okay, when I will discuss the balancing. At that time we'll take up all the balancing questions also. So this is how we do the balancing, right? So barium hydroxide and ammonium chloride is formed, but in this reaction energy is absorbed, so that heat energy will be absorbed here, and as a result the beaker or the container will become cold in this condition, and such reactions where heat energy is absorbed are called as endothermic reactions. Endo means absorbed and thermic means the heat, so absorption of heat, right? Now moving on to the last part of this characteristic, that is the formation of a precipitate. Now precipitate means we have taken two aqueous solutions, right? We have taken aqueous solutions, that is the liquid form, and both the aqueous solutions, they are colorless, right? Remember that they both are colorless. But when we mix them, so out of the two products that will be formed, one will be in the aqueous form only, and that aqueous form will be collected at the top, and the other one will be a solid precipitate and it will settle at the bottom. We have to keep it undisturbed for some time, and under the effect of gravity, right, it will settle at the bottom, and this is called as a precipitate. So this precipitate is of barium sulfate, and remember barium sulfate is a white colored PPT, okay, and above it there will be a clear aqueous solution, and that will be of HCl, which will be in the solution form. So we get to know about it. We have taken two colorless solutions, but when we mix them, there is change in the properties of the products. So these are 5 total characteristics, or in turn 6. Right, the very first we discussed was the evolution of gas, then change in order, then change in state, temperature, formation of a precipitate, and change in the color also, right? So we can learn all these things like this. I hope you have understood this topic very nicely. So we'll meet in the next tutorial. Thank